The ongoing COVID 19 pandemic poses a significant financial risk to the higher education sector worldwide. Will bailouts be a necessity for universities and colleges to survive, or are there other options? Justin Shaw is here today on NewsPoint for expert analysis as Chief Higher Education Consultant with Communications Management UK. Thanks so much for taking the time today, Justin.
Okay, that's my pleasure.
How unprecedented are these challenges facing universities in the UK and globally?
Well, they're radical, they're severe, they're massive, and totally unprecedented, really, in any times that universities have been around, and they've been around a long time. So they're facing massive shortfalls, massive challenges in terms of students, and we still don't know what the situation is going to be come the start of the new academic year from the fall.
And those challenges are not just related to enrollment. They're very multifaceted and quite complex.
Well, my experience is in the UK, working with UK universities on a daily basis. They rely on all sorts of sources of income to drive them. Student sources are pretty important, but equally commercial income coming from people who hire the university for conferences, the use of accommodation space, which universities have residential lets on their campuses, the whole range of services that they provide through to business advice and so on. So there's quite a substantial range of threats coming through. And annually in the UK, their income is £38 billion in total. So it's a big industry, a big sector. Half of that comes from student fees, paying through student fees, and less than 10% tends to come through commercial income. Well, the biggest challenge that we're seeing at the moment is that we have reports that somewhere between 3 and 19 billion pounds could be wiped off university budgets in the coming year, based on what's happened with the lockdown, restrictions of largely attracting international students to come to university to study this year, and also the loss in other associated income as well.
That is significant. How are universities, particularly in the UK, responding to this difficult outlook?
Well, to be honest, they're very worried. There's a lot of analysis going on, some detailed financial planning, and there's talks with government. The government in the UK has already indicated that it's willing to help to some degree, but most of that help is through cash flow. So providing early funds to universities at certain times of the year than they would normally get that funding for. And there's also promises of help if universities do face the edge, really, if they run into severe difficulties. Then there are packages to do with restructuring of those universities, and in some cases some help towards total change of the way they run their universities. But it comes at a cost to those universities, which is they'll lose their independence and government will have more significant interference with the running of those institutions in return for their own recovery and investment. So there's some reparation there's some help, but it's not enough.
Well, as you say, there is so much still up in the air. Could it potentially mean job cuts down the line? And how will this impact students?
Universities are very reluctant to look at redundancies at the moment. The expertise that universities have through their academic community is really important. It's at the heart of the issue. Students want to learn from the best. They want to learn from the academic community. So any loss of academics is going to lose courses, programs of study, and all sorts of other income associated with that expertise. So it may happen. It will be difficult and challenging. There'll certainly be slight losses in the administrative staff and operational costs, but I'm hoping that the academic side of things will try and survive and remain relatively unscathed through all this.
On the other side of the coin, there appear to be so many that are sitting on their hands at home now with time on their hands. Is there an opportunity there to increase online learning for universities? Is that a potential?
That's already in place. So most universities have spent the early part of the lockdown looking at what they can do to transfer their classroom-based teaching to online methods. So there's lots of that happening at the moment, and the plan is to run lots of programs in the start of the new academic year at a mix of online and face-to-face. So mostly small group study where that's possible, but predominantly online as well through technology. But I think the major issue is not just about sitting on your hands for teaching purposes, but also using that expertise that you have as an academic for the benefit of others. So particularly for industry, and I have a particular idea there really that's not really been spoken about so much at the moment, and that's really about encouraging academics to step up and developing plans that they can market their expertise for use by industry. And industry really needs that help. It needs ideas, it needs recovery, it needs fresh thinking for growth. And academics can provide that because they have all sorts of expertise from their careers that they can bring in to benefit.
So what do universities have to do to get their academics ready to do business with business?
I think there are three things that really need tackling there. One is to do with culture. So at the moment in the UK, we have less than 20% of our academics who are actually working with industry in some way. That needs addressing in terms of understanding of the potential benefits, both to the academic, to the university, and to industry itself. Second thing is the reputation amongst industry that universities have something to offer to them beyond just providing graduates for their future workforce. They don't really perceive that universities have this massive bank of talent and experts waiting to help them with innovation, with business growth, with change, with all the things that they need to survive through the future. And the third thing is that we need to work harder at mining the precise planning of how we can use and work with those academics. So every academic, in my view, should have their own marketing plan as to how their expertise can be applied for the benefit of the business world.
And it would be a tremendous benefit to the business world. Justin Shaw, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us today.
Okay, thank you.